All right, just to add something to my Colorado experiences, among the people I mentioned, of course, was the Burmese Irving Shrey and so on. I talked about it, but another famous person in Boulder, not famous, but well known, was Alan Love, whose father was professor of forestry at Fort Collins University of Colorado, and a very fine person. Alan just about supplemented the things that Erich Shrey did by allowing me to eat dinner at his house in return for helping him wash the dishes. He had a building, a little building, which helped me later a few times because I was able to stay overnight in his house. What happened was his father had told him, "You want to go to university? Fine, but here's what I can do for you. I can't do much, but I'll get you the building, and from then on you can have to find a way to rent it or to increase your income one way or another, and also to feed yourself," which Alan did very well. And one of the ways in which he did it was which didn't exactly increase his income, but by letting me eat that frequently for dinner. And I repaid by doing dishes. So that was Alan Love. He had also an uncle, a very important person, a real artist, who did the background paintings for the Denver National History Museum. I may have mentioned that.
Yeah, I saw them.
Those were the Loves. Ultimately, Alan graduated, got rid of his house, and got a special deal to go to the University of Vienna to study political science. Well, I don't know how much he studied there, but he certainly came back with a wife, an Austrian, rather nice person, and a strong impression, that the University of Vienna was not what it was or what its reputation was in the pre-World War days. It was one of the great universities in Europe, especially in certain art topics and so on. In the end, he became head of the University of Colorado, Pueblo, State University of Colorado, where he was the president of the place for a few years, and then in a very terrible way he died. And not of course, well, I don't know. He had a reputation of being a great president and not collapsing for nothing, like so many of them do. His wife, of course, when she heard that I had a son called Gideon, she said, "Oh yes, Guido, that's a good Austrian name." And Alan had to correct her and said, "It's not Guido, it's Gideon. It's a good biblical name," which she said, "Oh really?" Anyway, I want to go away from this subject. The other important things which might be of some interest is Denver. I must have mentioned how great Uncle Alex and Tante Hannah were for me, and of course Hilda too, their daughter, who had married Fritz Wolf. and from then on was known as Hilde Rosa, after her Isaac grandmother, Hilde Rosa Wolf. But the parents were terrific, and I have to remember, my memory is strained these days, and I do remember some of the great things from that period. Uncle Alex was a representative, or his business became representative of Hanes underwear, right? There's such a thing, Hanes underwear, because the managers or the owner of Hanes was a very fine Jewish man in Denver, actually, who wanted to help those refugees from Germany, and so Jewish people came, and he gave him a job. The job was to sell Hanes stuff all over Colorado and New Mexico, possibly parts of Arizona, I don't know, which consisted in doing a lot of traveling. Uncle Alex had a fine, heavy car. I forgot the make, but he filled it up with the Hanes samples, and in addition, he also had a number of gift-type things from a place in Nebraska, I think Nebraska, that made those things, which includes ashtrays and fire extinguishers, all kind of little schmonzes, stuyot. But, okay, so then it was summer, and he says, it's very tough for me to drive. Erich, you have vacation, come along. So I and Uncle Alex, I said, of course, that's great, because this opportunity, I was a major in geography, and it was a possibility to see those areas which I just knew more abstractly about. And there we went from place to place, visiting these various clothing places, clothing shops, where Uncle Alex sold Hanes stuff. He sold well. He was a very great salesman. In spite of his heavily accented German-type dialects of English, of American English, nonetheless, he got the point across. They believed him. So he was very great. And one of the things that he did after he sold those things, well, I mean, to 2 or 3 towns, places that we went to, and then we had to go to a motel for overnight, because he wouldn't drive at night to the next place. So in the morning, when he paid for everything, they paid for the motel. He said to the motel owner, one thing I know, what you don't do right, you don't have in the rooms ashtrays with your name on it. And the guy says, what's the point? They'll steal it. So Uncle Alex says, well, that is the point. They should steal it. And you should have towels with names of the motel on it. And you should have, I forgot whatever, cups, coffee cups, and even some hardware. And that is the stuff that he had taken along, representing that, I forgot the name, it was Newtown or something in Nebraska, which manufactured these things. And with no fail, every time they bought the stuff. And he very frequently gave it to them and said, look, I'll be here next month because I have to visit such and such clothing store, whatever it says. So I'll bring you some, and in the meantime, till then, take some of these things for free from me, and you can. And the guy said, well, I can't do that. He said, yes, you can, because it doesn't say it's your name on it, because that'll bring you all that stuff next time I come. So he made great deal of friends. Now, that business of his, of course, continued without me after when the school started again. I went back to Boulder and saw them once a week or twice a week in Denver, but otherwise. But Hilda's husband, Fritz Wolf, was a super bowling expert. And he said, when he knew Alex, his father-in-law, sort of, he said, we have to contact those bowling alleys. Is there anything we could sell them? What he said, the reason was because Fritz was a super duper bowler, and various bowling alleys all over Colorado and New Mexico. I don't know. I'm not so certain about it. I don't know Arizona. They wanted him as a bowler because it stimulated the business and so on. And they had boards up which named the bowlers at number 1, number 2, who was the best, who was the worst. So he talked Alex in. We must have a business making boards of all kinds, of which I, by the way, still have a little thing which says Erich Isaac.
I'll get it. Where is it?
Downstairs.
On the.
That's it?
Okay,
just a minute. What shall I do?
Well, I'll keep
go
talking.
On. I go on. Yeah. So he convinced Alex. Alex wasn't. It didn't take much because Uncle Alex was extremely smart. Was smart. He got the point, and he said, "We have to contact some business which make boards, especially boards which replaces." With letters that can be replaced so that names can be listed as rank, first, second, third, plus the date it was taken, that particular things. And so Fritz, they got this, they got a representation from the board makers, and there was another business where they made those boards, in Denver. They had a little workshop there, and they had, by the way, a very big German shepherd dog that watched that workshop, in which they made these boards and the letters and the this and that. And Fritz traveled to those bowling alleys up and down the West. I don't know the names of these. They sold those boards. Alex sold the boards, or Fritz sold the boards, and then combined this combined this with smaller gift type things. For example, like one thing that they gave me, which gave my names on it. But this is on a large scale for those bowling allies, and of course, apart from that, well, the Haynes business went well. You just had to plan it properly. Haynes bowling boards and those gift type things from that Newton or some place in, I don't know, that was the place of the outfit, but it was in, I think it was in Nebraska or somewhere. And they did well. And I actually, I couldn't take part in this, but I did enjoy that dog. They had been watching that. He was a nice dog, which of course sometimes gave me thoughts. I mean, he's supposed to protect that workshop, but he loves everybody who comes in. So that's about all I can do today, but there was one more thing I should have mentioned. In my first year at Boulder, in the summer, I needed a job. I needed to earn some money. I did get the grant, foreign student grant from the University of Colorado, but it was just something that pays for something. And Fritz at the time, Fritz and his mother had come to, I think from Chicago to Denver earlier, and he had a great job in a famous chemical company in Denver. I do not remember the name, but it was very well known throughout the country, and they manufactured insecticides and all kinds of important things. Now, Fritz got me a job there, and the job was to have something to do with fastening the boards on top of their workshop, boards which held up the roof, which meant that I had to climb up there and walk out on these boards about, I will say offhand, about 60 foot above the ground. Well, I managed one board about, I would say, 10% of the distance, and then I crawled backwards and tried to get off. I was not a courageous person like that, and I thought, I better not, I mean, that would be the end of my Boulder career if I fall down. It would be but in fact, it would be my end, period. Well, Fritz took it well. He said, okay, not everybody can do these things. And so I went, as I say, down, and they found me another job, but it was on the ground floor. And anyway, it helped me. It helped me earn some money, which helped the next my return to Boulder, and I was quite well. I was not proud of my courage, but on the other hand, I thought I wasn't that stupid to stop that. So I walked across the campus and was stopped by Professor Hofmeister, who was the head of the geography department, and who had walked with Professor Kelly next to him, also a geographer specializing in Queensland in Australia. And they sort of jokingly asked me, well, what do you think? What is the economy of Israel going to be like? I mean, what's the country doesn't have much resources. What's it going to expect? And I said, brains. They expect brains. And both of them opened their eyes big and said, that's right, that's right. So I said, well, I hope you don't forget this with the finals coming up. Thank you. This is about all I can do.
Okay.
There is more, but it doesn't come to me right easy.
Okay.